So the common activity online of over criticizing girls and calling them ugly. Now, I don't want to question anyone's freedom of speech or tell them what they can and can't say or say that giving their opinion is wrong or anything like that. But I feel like these guys calling these girls ugly online is affecting their ability to attract girls in their everyday life because you're holding girls to a standard online that you're not even adhering to in real life if you meet them face to face. So you may say to yourself, if you call a girl ugly online, but if you were to meet her in real life, are you able to attract her? Are you able to put forth the effort to create a connection with her so that you'll develop attraction from her? So if you can't attract that same girl in real life, then your opinion about how she looks online, it just doesn't, it's just not significant enough in my opinion. And one example that made me think about this topic is when the actor Sydney Sweeney, it was called ugly by lots of people or other celebrities or producers. I think I read some producer named Carol Baum called her ugly and she said she couldn't act. And I looked at pictures of Sydney Sweeney. I don't think she's ugly. Maybe she's not meeting the beauty standards of whoever. I think a lot of guys online are probably in love with anime characters or whatever, or just having this standard of beauty that not very many people are meeting anyway. And I understand the value of trolling and the entertainment of it and how it's not that serious and it's people you're never going to meet in real life and it's just fun on the internet. But like I said before, I feel like these guys who are over criticizing these notable figures in the media, that that standard, it's probably going to affect how you attract girls in real life because if you're not able to attract a girl who is not meeting certain beauty standards, how are you going to attract the girl who is? And you're gonna have to be able to perform socially around other individuals who have the same interests as you do. And you're not going to be able to be effective in a romantic sense if you're not realistic about, who people are outside of their looks. And you using that example of Sydney Sweeney, even if an internet troll thought that she was ugly, an ugly girl still has more options than the average man ever will. And, beauty is subjective, so she could probably pop out with a guy who's very good looking or the kind of guy that girls are attracted to. And, if she's capable of attracting a guy like that, then for someone to over criticize her and call her ugly, she may have the argument that, well, if I'm so ugly, how do I have this guy, So a lot of guys should take that into consideration when if you're not thinking enough about how to attract a girl rather than keeping it simple and in mentioning whether or not you think she's pretty or whether or not you think she's pretty, Another example that I've heard people say is that Billie Eilish, they call Billie Eilish ugly. I don't think she's ugly either. I don't think Sydney Sweeney is ugly. But if they're not meeting certain beauty standards, then it doesn't mean that they're ugly. It just means that certain characteristics that a girl has are not as popular as others. Like for those two, using them as an example, um, I don't know. I don't really know how I should criticize their looks. I think they're pretty. It doesn't matter. I just want a lot of guys to understand that if even if a girl is not as pretty as what you would prefer to be involved with, as a girl that you'd prefer to be involved with, you're still going to need to be able to socialize with them and attract them by moving through the stages of attraction. And if you think that it's going to be easier to do that with a girl who actually is meeting your standards of beauty, then are you doing that already? Or are you already involved with girls who are that attractive? Because if not, you may want to be involved with both types of girls. A girl that you're not attracted to, and a girl that you do believe is meeting your standards of beauty, because you might find that they behave the same way. So if that's true, then you could be attracted to both. And I also think it's worth mentioning that just because a girl doesn't look a certain way, it doesn't mean that she can't provide something that's very valuable to you. Like, just because a girl isn't meeting certain standards of beauty, it doesn't mean that she's not fun to hang out with, or that she's not really good at sex, or that she can't provide some value to your life to raise your quality of life, you know? And to be shallow about someone that you don't know personally could cost you a lot of opportunity romantically. And it's good to make friends with all kinds of girls, even if they don't look a certain way. And I think a lot of men should take that into consideration. And using that example with Sydney Sweeney, I don't know what she did to get so much attention, but I just wonder who they would compare her to. If they think that she's ugly, who do they think is pretty? And if we were to use an example, like if I were to try to come up with an example right now, like another famous blonde girl with, I think she has blue eyes. It doesn't matter. Maybe Taylor Swift, not Swift. Taylor's with that football player. Taylor is with her fiance. I don't know. I can't think of another example of a blonde-haired famous girl. You know, because a lot of famous celebrity girls dye their hair. I can't think of any natural blondes off the top of my head. I don't even know if Sydney Sweeney is a natural blonde. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, by over criticizing girls, you could be training your mind to miss out on a lot of opportunity. And this ability to attract girls, you're going to want to you're going to want to develop that by interacting with lots of different types of girls, even a girl that's not meeting particular standards of beauty. Because when you get into a routine of trying to build attraction, I, I'm not saying that you have to interact with a girl who you're not attracted to. I'm just saying that you could learn certain aspects of social dynamicism by broadening your scope. That's all. So, if you have more examples of a blonde haired girl or an actor who looks similar to Sydney Sweeney, but that you actually think is pretty, put it in the comments and let me know what you think about how she looks, or if you know a girl in your life that people call ugly but you think is cool and you think is pretty. And like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.